When you have developed your fiery body, you can really participate in the life of the higher world. You can advance up to heights beyond the earthly sphere, into realms which are accessible to the soul only. First of all, be aware of this participation. Let us gaze into the far-off worlds. Let us feel ourselves as participants with them. It is one thing to discuss abstractly distant worlds. It is another to realize oneself a participant there. As a spiritual being, your eternal individuality lives nowhere else than in this world. This is a fact that exists regardless of whether you believe and perceive it or not. Active participation there requires an expansion of your consciousness. The essence of striving to the far-off worlds is contained in the assimilation of a consciousness of our life in them. You must really feel and experience your existence there. And this not only on Sunday during church service or in meditation, but in the midst of your normal, everyday earthly work. Man should develop such a consciousness that he feels like a participant in the life of the supermundane world at every hour. At the same time, he must treasure his earthly life, must learn to rejoice at high quality in his labor, and must continue with the earthly life as he finds new ways of perfectment in it. One might ask how it is possible to reconcile these seemingly contradictory ways. Truly, it can be done, for man can perfect his consciousness. How do I put this participation into practice? You just walk through the door over to the next room, or climb through the cloud to the top of the mountain, in spirit, of course. Just as Harry Potter breaks through the physical wall at platform 9¾ of King's Cross Station and crosses over into the other world to board the express to Hogwarts. A yogi knows that the duration of earthly life is but a small part of supermundane existence. A yogi has learned how close and simple is the transition into the supermundane world. It is performed for the sake of the future and teaches man to comprehend infinity. However, your soul should not wander about in the world beyond aimlessly and half-consciously like the animals on earth and the subtle body during sleep. Man actually lives in all the worlds. Each day he visits the worlds, but he cannot be conscious of these momentary absences. Thus you must begin to work consciously in the higher world. Living in heaven means working in heaven. What does this look like in concrete terms? Let us consider an example. the Middle Ages were closer to this spiritual reality than we are. Look at the wonderful painting The Battle of Lepanto by Paolo Veronese. It is about a decisive naval battle in 1571, when an Occidental coalition prevented the Turks from advancing further west. The heavenly powers are seen intervening in the struggle in favor of the Christian forces at the intercession of the saints. One can find ancient images that depict heavenly participants in earthly battles. In this way, you may imagine the subtle world in which your soul is living, that is, the whole reality. Heaven and earth form one inseparable overall world. The heavenly powers are watching very closely what is happening on earth and come to the aid of the forces of good. Agni Yoga conveys an important extension of this idea. The earthly man who has developed his fiery body is a giant. While he stands with his feet on earth, he reaches into heaven with his spiritual being. He is so great that he can participate up there in the life of the inhabitants of these spheres. Heaven is open to us. Heaven is accessible to us. You can recognize that the chosen ones are on the path if the invisible world has become real and accessible to them. The new man of spirit does not have to rely on the saints to intercede for him up there. He himself can turn directly to his protectors, friends, helpers, and co-workers in the subtle world, consult and cooperate with them, and that not with regard to any abstract heavenly matters, but very concretely for the concerns of the earth. Your soul takes part in the conversations in heaven, and at the same time lets your body fight down on earth with the support of the heavenly powers. Let us summarize. When your soul participates in the life of the higher world, it lives in paradise, in communion with the heaven dwellers, and it works together with them to improve the conditions on earth. We shall now look at these three aspects in detail. Your fundamental happiness is, you are the most beautiful, greatest and strongest creature you can think of, and you are living in the most magnificent world you can possibly imagine. You are already now living in that heaven from which you came at birth and to which you wish to return after death. In the invisible, supermundane world, beyond the veil, above the clouds, is paradise. Peace, rest, joy, and solemnity. Über den Wolken muss die Freiheit wohl grenzenlos sein. Alle Ängste, alle Sorgen, sagt man, blieben darunter verborgen, und dann würde, was hier groß und wichtig erscheint, plötzlich nichtig und klein. Isn't it utterly impossible to live in the fiery world, in heaven, during the earthly incarnation?
No. Listen to what the Mahatmas tell you.
Therefore the brotherhood is called threefold. It extends between the three worlds as a firm bridge. It is almost impossible to imagine the contact of the earthly with the fiery world. But in the armor of the brotherhood, such a fusion is made possible. Is this like in sleep, when I am also participating in the life of the higher world?
No, not quite. In sleep, you are conscious only in the spiritual world, but not in the material sphere, whereas now you are conscious on both planes. In sleep, the soul separates from the body and visits other realms. In the waking state, it remains bound to the body.
This is still highly abstract for me. I am not quite sure what you mean by living in paradise.
Then let me describe how I imagine my participation in the life of the higher world.
The heaven of a spiritual disciple, of the high-minded ones, of the man of the future, is Shambhala.
He dreams of coming as close as possible to this highest earthly place and of being admitted there one day, to an ashram, or at least to a village at the feet of the abode of the great teachers.
You can think of Shambhala as a holy mountain that unites all three worlds.
The holy mountain starts on earth. There it is firmly grounded. It has a material base. Toward the top, it becomes more and more subtle and finally invisible. On the lowest level of the pyramid of the worlds, on earth, there are physical branches of Shambhala. Above that, in the invisible realm of reality, in the subtle world, there are subtle ashrams of various teachers, all the way up to the highest bulwark on the mountain peak, Shambhala, where the Mahatmas themselves reside. You and I, who consider ourselves disciples of the Brotherhood, must naturally seek our place at the very bottom.
We are living at the foot of the holy mountain.
We attach our physical homes and workplaces to Mount Shambhala. They are outposts of the Brotherhood on earth. We had already talked about their construction in the broadcasting We Are Building the World of the Future. And now comes the crucial point. Behind, above the place where you are living and working, as a scenery for your life on the stage of the material world, there rises on the subtle plane the holy mountain, with its ashrams, sanctuaries, and temples. It is invisible to the physical eye, but its presence, its closeness, is perceptible to you.
What a magnificent sight is a peacock displaying its train. Likewise, in the morning, in meditation, you unfold the world of the sacred mountain behind you. Like the peacock its wheel, you can take it with you everywhere you want. Like with the peacock, people perceive the greatness and beauty of the sphere that surrounds you. What a wonderful idea! How do I now participate in the life of the sacred mountain?
By living and working together with your eternal friends there, as we shall now discuss in detail. Of course, you can think of any other heaven that you like better. You may use the practical hints that follow for living in any paradise.